All right. Game number 3 in week 4. Stinkies at Landshark. Looks like Landshark's going to be getting about 2 in this matchup after all the lineups are set. So let's dive right into it and start with Stinkies. Peyton Manning at the quarterback position. What else needs to be said? I mean, the guy knows what the defense is doing before the defense calls their play. I mean, it's really kind of scary the way he can direct that offense and know exactly where to put his receivers based on what he sees from a lineup standpoint on the defensive side. So going up against Philadelphia, Phillies had their struggles this year. Philip Rivers had a nice offensive game against them. So if Rivers can do that, we all look forward to seeing what Peyton can do to that secondary as well. Trent Richardson, in his new role in Indianapolis, gets to play the worst team in the NFL. If you're Stinky, you really got to hope that they're really going to work Trent into the offense this week. He was sort of splitting carries with Bradshaw last week. Look for them to get Richardson more involved this week. They don't want to be known as the team that traded away a first round draft pick to have a running back by committee approach. So I think they're going to get Richardson involved. I think he's going to get the lion's share of the carries this week, and really playing against Jacksonville, he could do some serious damage. You can't get excited about the running back 2 position for Stinkies. I mean, Chris Ivory's slated. And yeah, Tennessee is a decent matchup, but who's going to get the ball? Bilal Powell is in the mix there. And then you got Chris Ivory, so you don't really know who's going to get the lion's share of the carries. So it's kind of hard to predict what kind of production he's going to get from that spot. Anquan Bolden in San Francisco, look for him to do some good things. We saw the Dallas receivers last week have a nice day against the St. Louis secondary. I think Kaepernick and Bolden get back on the same page here against St. Louis and really get a chance to put up some yardage and possibly some points. Dwayne Bowe was a little bit of a disappointment last week in the Thursday night game against Philadelphia. I think he had 1 catch for 4 yards. I look for him to get back on track. New York, the Giants are just in shambles, both offensively and defensively. I think they're going to look to get him involved. The Giants are probably going to come out and try to stop Jamal Charles, so look for some shots to open up down the field for Bowe. And that secondary is really nothing to write home about, so he should get an opportunity to play well. Wes Welker obviously is a must start. Any of the wide receivers or tight ends in Denver obviously are a must start at this point, so he should put up some good numbers against Philadelphia. Matt Prater, obviously reaping the rewards of that Denver offense, moving the ball down the field. So he's going to get a chance to put some points on the board as well. I like the Ravens D this week. I've been impressed with EJ Manuel so far for a rookie signal caller. But I do think that Baltimore defense is stout enough to where they're going to confuse him a little bit, maybe force him into some bad decisions, and possibly be able to get him on the ground once or twice as well. So all in all, for Stinky's a pretty good lineup this week. Then you switch over to Shark's side. He's got Andy Dalton, the Ginger in Cincinnati, if you will, going up against Cleveland. Cleveland secondary's not bad, but Andy definitely has some weapons that he can throw to. If Shark gets word that Gronkowski comes back, you wonder if he's going to put Brady in the lineup. He might, and it might not be a bad call because Gronkowski really changes the landscape of what that passing offense can do. So it'll be kind of a coin toss, I'm sure, for Shark based on what Gronkowski's status is for the Sunday night game. On down to Matt Forte. I think he's just waiting for that breakout week, and that Detroit defense could be the team that he does it against. Kind of soft in the passing game. We all know that Forte can get involved in that aspect of it. So look for him to do some good things against Detroit. Arian Foster, against Seattle, that defense is stout. I mean, look at what they did to San Francisco. They bottled up Gore. They shut down the passing game. And then they got Jacksonville last week, which really didn't pose much of a test to them. So they should be well rested. They'll come in with a game plan to really try to limit Foster and make some other people beat them. So I think Arian Foster is going to have a tough time getting some open room against the Seahawks. Eddie Royal, was the hot waiver wire pickup a couple weeks ago. He's gotten off to a hot start, 5 touchdowns in 3 games. He draws the Cowboys defense. It's kind of hard to tell with Dallas. It's kind of Jekyll and Hyde. They're getting used to that cover 2 scheme. They get some pressure on the quarterback, but then they give up some big plays as well. So That's sort of a neutral matchup for me. I'm not excited about Royal, but I'm not totally against him playing either. Obviously, Jordy Nelson's going to sit this week because the Packers get a bye week. Hopefully, for Shark's sake, Fitzgerald's well. He could go out there, but then, of course, you've got Revis Island to deal with in that game against Tampa. He might go with Kimbrel Tompkins with New England. So you just don't know what you're going to get as far as that second receiver spot for Shark. He's starting Tavon Austin. I think Shark understands that if there's a way to attack San Francisco, it's through the air right now. So that might not be a bad play. Tavon Austin's got speed to burn. He's versatile, and they're going to move him around the football field and find ways to get him in space. So that should be a good play as well. Greg Zuerlein, obviously a great kicker, kicking indoors. I think St. Louis will move the ball enough to get him 2 or 3 shots at some field goals. And then the Bears defense against Detroit, Stafford's been known to make some mistakes, some bad decisions, and you can also get him on the ground. So I think the Bears are a pretty good play this week from a defensive standpoint. Um, Everything adding up, I think it really comes down to, does Shark finally get some big production from the quarterback position? And I'm just not ready to say that quite yet. I want to see how Gronkowski comes back and impacts the Patriot passing game. But I think Manning has a huge day against Philadelphia, and I've got Stinker to win and cover. All right. See you guys in the next segment.